Hey gang, welcome back to Match Grade Podcast. I'm Dave. I got Wendy here.
Hello.
Okay. So we're going to talk about what you should do to get ready for your first class, whether it's with us or another place. But it's just some tips from our experiences as working with new students and working with, seasoned students that just seem to be sometimes just not ready. And so let's talk about that. So one of the things I wanted to throw out there is what you think you should do. Okay. You could watch videos online, aka YouTube Academy.
Or you could come to the class.
Or you could go to the range and shoot a bunch of ammo and probably not know what you're supposed to be working on and reinforce some bad habits and, probably just not do well.
Or you could just come to the class.
Right, I'm sensing a theme here. Or you could run out and buy some really cool tactical gear that you probably won't need, but you think is going to make you look better.
Yeah. Or you could come to the class.
What about...
Oh, it's okay. You should just come to the class.
All right, fine. Just come to the class, okay? All right. So, seriously, guys, talking to people about, that aren't connected to the class, why would you want to talk to them if they don't know what we're going to teach? Right? How do they know? Unless they've been there, maybe find out if they've trained with that instructor. Maybe you can say, okay, what can I expect? I've done that. I've gathered some intel on classes where I'm going, like when I did the SIG Master Handgun course. I wanted to find out, okay, well, what are we going to do in this thing? Where do people screw up is what I asked.
Right. Everybody wants to know that. Where am I going to screw up?
Yeah. And, I didn't want to know like the total curriculum yet because I do want to be surprised at times, but I'm like, okay, where do people make mistakes and where do they fail? And then, so what I did, honestly, is I worked on that part. I found out it was the 25-yard shooting targets that people usually missed on. So I went out and really worked on 25-yard targets and it helped. It helped. I felt better. I felt more comfortable. It was still somewhat stressful because, it's a pass-fail. There's no, hey, thanks for showing up. Here's a certificate anyways. But my buddy says you should probably do this, or, you should probably do this. You know what? Unless they've been there, they don't know.
I agree.
They don't know.
I agree. I know it's nerve-wracking to come, especially from a lady's point of view, coming to your first class. I know it's nerve-wracking, but really, you're paying people to train you the correct way, and we've been doing this now for close to 20 years, and we have a really great success rate, especially with the female-only classes. The ladies at the end of the day are so much more comfortable with their firearm and how to use it and, just more comfortable overall. So don't stress so much out about what do I need to know. Just come to the class.
What's the general, so when you teach, you teach all of our women's classes. So when you're teaching them, what is the most common comment they have?
They're brand new to it. They're afraid of it. A lot of them do come out and say, I'm afraid of it. I doubt they said that to their significant other or husband or
Right.
spouse or whoever they have at home, but they will say that in class. And they're there to overcome that fear, to conquer that fear.
Yeah.
And I tell you, by the end of the day, they're no longer fearful of it. So that's why I say, just come to the class. You're paying good money. You're giving us your time and your money. We know what we're doing. So just come to the class.
The second most popular comment from what I've heard you tell me is, I'm glad my husband wasn't teaching me. I'm glad my husband wasn't teaching me.
Definitely. They all say that. I love him, but I'm glad he wasn't teaching me.
Yep.
And I think I'm all right. I'm gonna go on about the ladies' classes for a minute. I think the cutest thing is when they come and you ask them what gun they brought. And they're like, I don't know, my husband packed it for me. He was so excited last night, he packed my whole bag, and I don't know what I have in there. I think that is the cutest thing.
Well, in a way, it's a really good thing because, their husbands want them, it's almost like their way of helping them succeed, right?
Exactly.
So the idea of, I'm going to make sure you've got everything in there. Well, hopefully he read the course description and the materials to bring, because that's typically the biggest thing. In fact, I had a phone call today. Student was asking and he was questioning pretty much everything on the list. Well, why do you need this? Why do you need this? And I was very upfront about it. And I said, well, that's because that's what you need to do the class. Yep. What if I only have this? Well, you're going to miss out. And I finally, and I told him, I go, I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm not trying to be mean. I go, I wrote the class.
Yep.
So the class that I wrote, I gave you the list of materials to bring.
Yep.
So bring those. You're questioning the guy who wrote the class as to why they're in there, or what happens if I don't bring it. Well, number one, you're going to lose out, and you're not going to get your money's worth.
And people do stress about, I need to bring everything. It's all on the website. It's all there in a list. Just bring everything there, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Classes that I've gone to take, and we've all gone to, the first thing I look at is, okay, well, what are we going to need for gear? Because we might need to buy something. They might be speccing something that we don't need. Okay, well, let's get that.
Yeah.
Okay? Or at least find a way to borrow it. Then we want to make sure, okay, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. We're ready to go. And that's a comfort factor. And that's good, because now it's like, all I got to do is focus on what we're going to do at the class.
Exactly.
I know I've got more ammo than needed. Oh, by the way, here's a pro tip. Whatever they say for round count, typically, if it's like a full day class, bring about 30% more. So if they say 500 rounds, bring about 700 or so. I know it's not 30%, but add some. Add some. I don't do numbers good. My English isn't great either, so we'll deal with it. The key is always plan on a really good day, because sometimes if it's, because you don't know if it's going to be a smaller class or a very populated class. Yeah. The good thing is, if we get a smaller class, we're going to shoot more. Yeah. And I wouldn't pass that up. Like if we showed up to a class and we're expecting 15 people and there's 8 of us, that tells me we're going to shoot a lot. So I'm going to be glad I brought a lot of ammo.
Yeah, definitely. That's happened.
But the key is, just get ready for the class. Just get the gear ready. If you have questions on the gear or where to find it, then you call the instructor for the class. All right, so there's a bunch of other stuff that we can help with. So what other tidbit would you like to offer? What big thing?
The other thing I've seen, if there's a qualification, don't worry so much about the qualification that you don't take in the learning that we're trying to give you during the day. Some people are so focused on, I have to get through this qual, that they don't hear a word we're telling them up to that point. And then they end up screwing up the qualification anyway because they weren't listening.
So if they're doing it right, we've heard this from Dave Spalding. I've heard this from a bunch of other places. If a qualification or a drill is supposed to test the skills you learn. Okay, so let's say the drill was draw and put 5 rounds on a 4-inch target at 5 yards, whatever it might be. Yeah. Okay. So what skill breakdown is that? Well, it's a drawing. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a sight acquisition. It's trigger management. Yep. It's also grip and recoil management. Yep. Okay. So if you don't learn those throughout the class, you're not going to do well in the drill, right?
Exactly.
So and it doesn't matter what the qualification or the test is, or some people have grown to call it a celebration of learning.
Yes.
Right?
Celebration of learning.
Whatever that is, don't focus on just that. Focus on what it takes to do it well.
Yes.
There's the drill that I'm trying to beat, and I think I'm getting to about 50 to 60% on it now, 6 out of 10 times, is Spalding's 2x2 drill. I want to be able to just nail that thing at will, right? And just.
Why do you get fire at will? He didn't do anything.
I know, I love that term. Do instructor training, everybody's like, fire at will. And there's a guy standing in the class, his name is William, and he's like, no, I'm going to run. But you're at 20 feet, and it's a 3x5 card, and you have to draw from concealment, and you have to put 2 rounds on that card in under 2 seconds. It's a tough drill. But in essence, you can shoot the drill over and over and over and over and over and eventually get better, or you can work the draw stroke. You can work your faster sight acquisition. You can work your trigger prep and press and reset and recoil management, and start trusting that the gun's going to be there when you point your hands in that direction. Yeah. And then the drill gets better. So, we get people all the time, they're like, I got to practice the drill. No. Practice the skills that make the drill better.
Exactly.
Right? So, that's a good one. Let's see, what else? What else for course prep would you suggest?
Just come with a learning mindset.
Okay, yeah.
We kind of end up with either a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, I guess. So when you're with us in that class, just open up your mind and kind of just really take in everything that we're giving you. And please ask questions. I know through the day it would give you a lot of information, but if you think of it on a break, write it down and then be sure to ask it, because we don't want you to leave there without your questions answered also.
Well, one of the things people don't understand is asking questions gives the instructor a break and gets them to revisit something, but it also reinforces it in your brain.
Yep.
Because you have to slow down to think to ask the question.
Yeah.
And what's good with that is somebody else in the class had the same question.
Yeah. They just didn't say it.
They just didn't get to it yet, or they were afraid to ask it. No, you did. You opened the door for them. And then they'll probably ask another question that's important to them.
And
so
then
you're getting it generated.
I also find you could ask a question in class that puts it a different way for another person to hear. And then that person gets it, even though it was your question. They're like, oh, now I get it. Because you said the words in a different way.
Let's see, asking questions. Yeah. You talked about having an open mindset to learn. Yeah, it's like, we've had students where they were convinced they knew it and they were there to check off a box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or they were there to see what we knew and they were going to challenge their knowledge, or they were going to challenge ours. And in the end, inevitably, once we get them to open up a little bit, they actually learn something. And they admit that, wow, I didn't realize, how bad I shot. I thought I was great. But like I can go to the range and shoot all day long and figure out all these new drills and figure out all these new, see how good I am. But until I go under somebody else's supervision, get on their game, right? I don't really know if I could get better sometimes.
Yeah. The one thing too, I will go back to the first class. You're always nervous. You're always nervous at your first class, but the more you do it, the less nervous you become.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got this now. I got this.
Right.
Even after your second or third class, you're more confident. I know what I'm bringing. I know, how to change the batteries in my hearing protection.
Yeah.
Things like that. Simple things like that, actually. So the more you do it, the less stressed you get about it.
I know how to load my magazine.
Right.
Because some people, they're nervous and they put the ammo in backwards.
Yep.
Or they try to load it and they fumble it a little bit just because of the nerves, and then trying to get that fine motor skill that they haven't figured out. It's the simple things that can make you more nervous.
Right.
So just show up with the right material and be ready to learn. And I don't know what else we can ask. It's just that simple. And don't worry about not being ready. You're there to learn. Yep. You don't need to go out and learn more to go to a class to learn more. Okay? Again, you might learn the wrong things. You might practice the wrong things. You might build the wrong skills, and then it's harder for us to unprogram it, to reprogram you. Yeah. We'd rather program you right from the start, or at least build on a good foundation. So, to basically sum this up, what's the first step to getting ready for your new course?
Go to the class.
Go to the class. What would be some additional steps? Have the right material.
Yep. Have the right gear.
And then have the right mindset. And be teachable. That is the key right there. Be teachable.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so another tidbit to think about. What to expect when you're there. We got you there. You got all your gear. You showed up to the course. What's it going to be like? There's going to be other people in the class.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So what is everybody thinking?
They're all there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Nobody's better than you. Nobody's worse than you at that point. You're all there for the same reason, to learn about firearms.
Yeah. So everybody's thinking the same thing. It's like, why is this person here? Why is this person here? Why is this person here? We just gave you the answer. You're all there for the same reason, to learn.
Exactly.
And you're all thinking about everybody else. Or are they going to be better? They look like they're more comfortable, right?
Exactly. They're going to shoot better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some other material to bring to your first class. If it's an all-day class, bring a lunch.
Yes.
Okay. You might not have time to go get something, so pack a lunch.
Yeah.
Right. Bring water. Bring hydration. Some instructors will have water or other stuff there, but you know what? Be self-sufficient.
Yes. Definitely.
Heck, you're learning to shoot a gun. You should be self-sufficient. Yeah. So bring water. Bring snacks. Bring whatever hydration you need. If it's summertime, bring you're going to plan on drinking at least a couple bottles in the morning.
Yes.
And at least a couple bottles in the afternoon, especially in the heat.
Exactly.
In the class, what else do we tell people to expect?
For the range portion, weather appropriate gear, I would say, or range appropriate gear. You're going to be outside, so if it's raining, you're going to need to bring boots, or if it's cold, you're going to need to bring boots also. A hat is also advised, preferably a ball cap that goes out over your
Something
eyes.
that
to
like
keep
does
the,
this and keeps the brass from going
keeps the
here.
brass from
Yeah, that's a
coming
good
in.
thing.
If it's summertime, please no tank tops. Preferably at least a short sleeve shirt and something with a higher collar because brass will find its way down into your shirt, ladies. Ladies, for whatever reason, are prone to that. We don't want that happening. Usually we want something, buttoned up higher.
Guys usually get caught here or here, and for some women, or for some reason, ladies, it all goes right down into the
It
cleavage.
tends to go right down the front.
Yeah, and it can be shocking for the
It's
first time
warm.
shooter.
It's very warm going down there.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely that. And the other obvious sunscreen, bug spray, because we are outside. There are bugs. That's another reason to wear good footwear, either boots or, if it's warm out, sneakers at the very least. I don't like flip flops because if you're shooting, something could bite you on your foot, and that's going to cause you to be distracted and do whoever knows what with the gun.
Flip flops are pretty much good for like walking on the beach and showers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Anywhere else, you can trip on things and you can step on something, or they'll come dislodge, and now you're walking on rocks or spent casings, and they can cut your feet.
Yeah.
So wear closed-toed shoes, maybe something that laces or something that slips on that can stay on your feet.
Weather appropriate. If it's raining, bring a raincoat. If it's cold, bring a parka or something to keep you warm out there.
Dress for the
And
weather.
I'll give you a hint. Ranges are always cold. Doesn't matter if it's 30 degrees out and sunny, you think, oh, it's not going to be that bad. It's going to be that bad on the range.
Yeah.
It'll be cold.
Yeah. Oh, if you go to the range in the winter, especially with us, because we prefer shooting on outdoor ranges because the ventilation's way better than indoor ranges. We just can't control the heat, or sometimes there's too much ventilation and it's windy.
Yeah.
But if you're going in the winter, don't wear sneakers. Just we get people that show up all the time with sneakers. Like, okay, number one, you're an adult, and you saw the weather when you got here, and you should have looked at it. And if it was snowing or sleeting or just general raining, wear something that's going to keep your feet comfortable.
Yeah,
because if your feet get cold, you're not going to learn. You're going to be thinking about your frozen feet.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. So on the range, be just prepared for the weather. Try to listen to the instructor. Try to follow their lead. And if you're not sure what to do, ask questions, especially on an outdoor range. Yeah. Follow the safety rules. Follow that. You're going to be shooting with other people.
Yes.
So
you're
what
gonna
happens
be
when
shooting
you're
next to other people?
Yeah. So what happens when you're shooting in next to other people in groups?
And brass is flying all over.
Loud noises.
And loud noises.
So,
Sometimes, depending on the group, we may have you shoot one at a time until you all get comfortable with the sound of gunfire around you.
yeah, it doesn't take long.
No, it doesn't take long.
We've seen people go from very jumpy to
Yeah.
I got this within maybe 20 rounds, 25 rounds.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy, and it's just you're outside, you're shooting guns, you're having fun, you're learning how to control this thing that you showed up to the class maybe slightly fearful of.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah.
put a smile on your face
Yep.
and have some fun doing it. Okay, let's see what else can we think about. We've talked about the gear, course prep. Okay, if you got a question on the gear, what do? Call the instructor.
Call the instructor.
Right. If you've got a question on course prep, what do?
Call the instructor.
Call the instructor. Okay, or email. Either one works. Okay. If somebody's telling you what they think you should expect, what should you do? Don't listen to them and
Call the instructor.
call the instructor. And when you get there, if you have any questions about your gear, talk to the instructor.
Yeah,
That's what they're there for. Get there a few minutes early, but not too early, but get there, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour early. You're probably good. And then talk to the instructor about maybe if you have any concerns or whatever.
That
They're-
happens a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they're there to help you. They're there to help you. So it's not that hard to do. But just have the right gear. And the biggest thing is just be teachable and have the right mindset.
I have the right mindset. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? We can overwhelm them
I
with we've heard there's podcasts that do this. They come up with 2.5 hours of material, so we tried to cut this down a little bit and keep
Wonder
it as
who that
simple as
is.
possible. I don't know who was it. I think it was somebody else in the room that we kept going on. So, anyways, we kept this one short and sweet because there's not that much to really worry about for your first course. So you're going to be stressed out enough just going to that first course. But once you get past it, it's so easy. It's so comfortable. The gun community is full of great people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great instructors out there, especially at the level for your first course, that they're very helpful because they actually want to see you continue into this because they want the conversion rate to stay up.
Yeah.
Right? We want to keep people coming in, and we're going to want you to tell other people about the fun you had in the course.
Yeah.
So of course we're going to be welcoming. I heard a phrase a couple years ago that there are some people out there that think they're gatekeepers. Like they only want worthy people to come in. No, we're the gate openers.
Yeah.
We want everybody to come in. But yes, there are people that shouldn't be in there, and that's, the permitting process and certain laws will weed them out.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you want to learn and you want to discover what the world of guns can offer, just shooting in general, the sport of it or the lifestyle of it, that's what we're here for. And that's what we can do to help you. So other than that, okay, please put any questions down below. Please, send us your thoughts on things. If there's more on a certain topic you want to do, like what gear should I have? You want a whole video on just what should I put in my range bag? We've got that. We can do that. You want to see what's going on? Maybe, we'll post some videos on some of our social media and YouTube about what happens in the first class. Okay, so we'll give you more info. But in reality, here's the secret. You ready? I think Wendy might have mentioned it earlier.
Go to the class.
Go to the class. All right. Everyone, thanks for checking in. I hope it was worthwhile. I hope you got something out of it. Again, questions are welcome. Post them below. Feed your comments in there. We're always looking at them. We're always watching them. And we'll see you at the next one. Hey everyone, if you like this video, check out one of these over here. I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourself.